Hi there, this is going to be a demonstration on how I make initiation media for tissue culture plants. So first I'm going to start off with putting 800 milliliters of distilled water into a 1000 milliliter beaker. And then I'm going to pop my magnet in and turn my magnetic stir on. And throughout this process, you may see me spraying my hands. I'm just spraying them with 10% bleach right now, just to be sure I don't have any excess germs on them. So now I'm just getting ready to weigh up my MS, which has Gelzan as a gelling agent in there, so I don't have to mix up anything else for my initiation media besides this. This particular MS requires 36.43 grams per liter, so I'm just adding that up and pouring it in, letting it stir. And of course I made a mess, so I had to tap all that extra powder off. And so now I'm just filling up the rest of my bowl with 1000 milliliters of distilled water, only adding about 200 more. Checking the pH after this entire process is super important, so I'm checking it to make sure it's between 5.5 to 6.0, spraying down my station with 10% bleach and wiping off the excess powder I got everywhere before I place my tubs down. So now I'm just placing down 10 deli containers that are microwave safe. These ones are 12 ounces. I'm going to use 100 milliliters syringe that I bought off of Amazon to fill each one of the containers. And I should get about 10 out of it. While doing this, it's also super important to make sure that your magnetic stir is left running while you're dispensing the media. Otherwise, the powder can settle and it'll mess everything up. So just leave it on. So now I'm going to place all of the lids on the containers, being sure not to snap them on. I'm just setting them on there so they cover the openings. Next, I just use a plastic trash bag and I put it on a clean stove. I open it up and I spray it with 10% bleach and I let it sit. For sterilization this time around, I'm going to be placing 5 containers at a time in the microwave and microwave them for about 5 minutes and 30 seconds. You're going to want them to be boiling for at least 3 minutes, so your microwave might be different than mine. You can also use a pressure cooker or an autoclave for sterilization, but the microwave works for a cheap option that usually everyone has. After the microwave goes off and the media is sterilized, it needs to be left alone for about 5 minutes. I recommend leaving it with the microwave door closed to reduce contamination. You can leave it for like maybe 8 minutes just because it gets really hot. But here I am just taking it out, placing it in the trash bag I put on the stove earlier. And then I'm gonna place some more in and put them in for 5 minutes and 30 seconds. This is a better visual representation of how I'm putting the containers into the trash bag. I'm spraying my hands with 10% bleach, spraying the trash bag with 10% bleach again. I wiped my microwave, the outside of it with bleach, not the inside. And I'm just placing the containers in all the way in the back as far as I can and making sure the lids aren't snapped on, they're just placed on the containers. After all the containers are in there, the bag needs to be sealed to reduce any airflow, so just flatten it the best you can. And then you need to let it sit for about 45-50 minutes before you can put it inside a refrigerator somewhere cold. So after about 50 minutes, I went around and I snapped on the lids of all of the containers before I opened the bag. So now that all the lids are snapped on, I'm going to do an extra safety precaution that I found works well. So I just continue doing it and sometimes reusing the saran wrap that I'm using to wrap around my deli containers before I put them in a refrigerator. This is how my media looks after sitting for 45 to 50 minutes. Don't worry, the pink is just from my gloves. I don't see any contamination anywhere yet. I will do an update if any of them do get contaminated, but I do have a pretty good track record of the media portion, so I'm hoping this turns out well. Thanks.